It was July 18th, 1989, and actress Rebecca Schaeffer was excitedly preparing for an audition that could change her life forever. This was for a role in The Godfather Part 3. The 21-year-old actress was also waiting for a script to be delivered to her house. That's when the doorbell rang. Rebecca didn't know it then, but she had only an hour left to live, because the man standing on the other side of her front door was the man who was going to kill her. Hello and welcome back to Crime, Mystery and Mayhem with Kate. If this is your first visit to my channel, hello, welcome. It is great to have you here. Here on my channel, I talk about true crime stories because I find them interesting and I'm quite intrigued as to why some people do the horrible things that they do. Please remember to like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel because it would really help me in my attempts to grow my channel. I'm so close to being monetized and it's all thanks to you guys. So thank you so much. Keep the love coming, keep watching my videos, get my hours up, la 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 la. There's quite a few things you have to do before you get monetized. So with your guys' support, I know I can get there. All right, so today I am going to be talking about the killing of actress and model Rebecca Schaeffer. So let's jump into today's story. Rebecca Lucille Schaeffer. She was born on November the 6th, 1967 in Oregon, USA. And she was the only child to Dana and Benson Schaeffer. Her mum was a writer and her dad was a child psychologist. Growing up, Rebecca was a curious and spirited child. She loved horseback riding and she loved being outside. As a teenager, she went to Lincoln High School. It's a public school located in Portland, and there she proved to be extremely popular with her classmates, even without trying. Like she was just one of those people that just gets along with everyone. Yeah, she was that person. I was the opposite. I'm just like hiding in the corner and like, don't talk to me. But yeah, she was outgoing and everyone loved her. She was also an honor student and served on the student council. Rebecca loved to write poetry and she was deeply immersed in her Jewish faith. So it was during her time in high school that she began to take an interest in drama class, and she also became more interested in maybe pursuing a career as an actress, maybe a model. Then in 1982, Rebecca was only 14 years old and she began to pursue a modeling career. So she signed up with local talent agent Nanette Troutman. She soon appeared in department store catalogs and on TV commercials. Then in August of 1984, when she was only 16 years old, her parents gave Rebecca permission to move to New York City by herself. So she wanted to continue to pursue a career in modeling, and it was soon after arriving that she signed with Elite Model Management. So despite her young age, her parents trusted her completely to make this move alone. I know 16 sounds so young, right? It does, but I'm not even going to try and defend it. It's her family, her parents, it's up to them what she does, so we'll just leave it there. So Rebecca, it's said that she thrived in the big city and set to work immediately. She attended auditions and she tried really hard to get acting work. And it wouldn't actually take long before she landed her first acting role on the ABC daytime soap One Life to Live. So during the same time, she was continuing to look for modeling jobs, but she was struggling because she was 5'7", so let's just say she wasn't tall enough to be a fashion model, and that's what she wanted to do. So in 1985, she moved over to Japan. She was hoping that maybe her height wouldn't be an issue there, but it kind of was, and she still struggled a little bit. So she came back to New York City, and upon returning to New York City, her agent said to her that maybe you should pursue acting instead of modeling. And in 1986, she landed small roles in the film Radio Days, which was directed by Woody Allen, and on the Steven Spielberg series Amazing Stories. She then received a phone call from her agent that television producers in Hollywood were interested in casting her in a new sitcom. This was My Sister Sam. I'm sure loads of people remember that. Maybe, well, the older ones, maybe, my generation. So Rebecca flew out to LA where she tested and won the part of Patricia Patty Russell, a free-spirited teenager who moves in with her older sister, played by Pam Dorber of Monk and Mindy. While working on the show, Rebecca actually lived with Pam. The two became super close, and Pam acted as Rebecca's mentor. So she gave her loads of advice and just helped her get to where she needed to be. So in the beginning, My Sister Sam was a hit show, and it tied for 21st highest rated show in its first season. So it was doing really well. Due to her newfound success and fame that she landed the March 1987 cover of 17 magazine, and she was on it. She was on it. And she also began receiving a large amount of fan mail, which she would respond to herself. She wouldn't get anyone else to respond. She would do it. So through it all, Rebecca, she remained humble and she was down to earth. She would catch the eye of someone, but it wasn't such a good one. This person did not have good intentions for Rebecca. So one day during the filming of My Sister Sam, Rebecca had been sitting in her trailer when the security guard alerted her that a man outside had presents for her, and he was claiming to know her. But Rebecca, she had the man sent away and thought nothing more of it. So after My Sister Sam ended, Rebecca continued to be in the spotlight. She appeared on the TV Guide, one of the most popular magazines in the US with 40 million readers weekly. I know. She did work as a presenter and had supporting roles in further popular TV shows. So when Rebecca was 19 years old, she began a relationship with UCLA film student, 23-year-old Brad Silberling. So she met him on a blind date. Brad would later actually go on to become a successful Hollywood director. So you guys may have heard of him. Maybe not. The pair got serious really quick, and months later, they began to search for a house together. So Rebecca was described by the people close to her as wise beyond her years, but she was also a little naive in a sense. Like, she was really trusting. She trusted people. One day, Rebecca was answering her fan mail and was excitedly telling a friend that her fans were telling her how much they adored her, as well as confiding their problems to her. So her fans felt like she was their friend. She told her friend that she had been answering these fan mails, like conversing with them, like, you know, they'll send her a letter, she'll send it back, like a pen pal. Rebecca did not want her relationship with her admirers to only be one-sided, and she felt a responsibility to reach out to them as they had done to her. They gave her their time, so she wants to give them hers. Rebecca could never have imagined the danger that this could pose for her. So over in Tuscan, a 19-year-old man had begun a fixation on Rebecca. This man would later become known as Robert John Bardo. Robert's life seemed to be going nowhere. He was a loner who worked in a fast food restaurant. He had no friends and no big ambitions for his life. Yeah. I'm just like, oh, that sounds like me. I'm a loner and I don't have many ambitions. Anyway, Robert's childhood had been troubled, and he had a reputation of having threatened neighbors and schoolmates. Okay, I never did that. He had been picked on and abused while he grew up, and this has also contributed to his life as an outcast. So Rebecca, she had first caught Robert's attention when he saw her on My Sister Sam. He later described that in the summer of 1986, he had been watching TV when a commercial for the show had come on. This was when he first laid eyes on Rebecca. Robert went on to watch the show just to watch Rebecca. He noticed her bubbly, outgoing character, and he began to develop a fixation. So it wasn't a healthy fixation like, oh yeah, she's my favorite actress. It was like, I want her to be mine, that kind of fixation. So Robert began to watch everything that she was in and would even videotape all of her TV appearances. So it doesn't sound too bad, right? Like, it's just a fan, but it was pretty bad. Robert eventually began to write letters to Rebecca, and much to his delight, he got one in return, because that's what she did. She wrote back. But unbeknownst to Rebecca was that she had made a deadly mistake. In her response to Robert, she had sent a signed photograph of herself and had made a comment, "Yours was one of the nicest I got," in reference to his letter. So in Robert's twisted mind, this had confirmed to him that Rebecca, she wanted him as well, as much as he wanted her. So yeah, the admiration he now held for the young starlet had not turned into a full-blown obsession. Now he decided that he needed to meet her in person. Robert had previously been obsessed with a child peace activist called Samantha Smith, but sadly Samantha actually died in a plane crash in 1985 when she was only 13. So in the summer of 1987, Robert boarded a plane to Burbank Airport and took a taxi to Warner Brothers Studio, where Rebecca had been filming My Sister Sam. He had flowers and a teddy bear in his hands, and this would be the first time that he was turned away. So he was feeling defeated at being told to go home by the guard, and he was frustrated but not willing to give up. Robert would return a second time around a month later. This time, however, he had been armed with a knife. Yeah. So after being turned away again, he became really angry. Despite this, the police were not called and no alarm bells went off for anybody. After Robert left, nobody thought any more about the incident and they just carried on with their lives. Then Robert returned to his hometown of Tucson, Arizona, and diverted his obsession to various pop singers for over 2 years, briefly losing focus on Rebecca, which is good for Rebecca. By 1989, Rebecca, who was now 21 years old, had moved into her own home located at 120 North Sweetser Avenue in LA. She lived on the second floor apartment inside the English Tudor house. That same year, she had starred in the black comedy film Scenes from the Class Struggle in Beverly Hills, in which she appeared in bed with another actor. So a bit more of a risque kind of scene. So Robert, he saw this and he was enraged. He was angry. Apparently he was also jealous, and he decided that Rebecca should be punished for becoming what he referred to as another Hollywood whore. So picking up his old habits, Robert once again fixated on Rebecca, but this time he paid a detective agency in Tucson $250 to find Rebecca's address. His brother also helped him purchase a handgun. Yeah. So Robert had written in his personal diary, "I have an obsession with the unattainable and I have to destroy that. That I cannot obtain." So Robert once again made his way to LA a third time and roamed the neighborhood where Rebecca lived. He was asking people if she actually lived there. Then on July the 18th, 1989, once he was certain that the address was correct, he rang the doorbell to Rebecca's home. At the time, the young actress, she was preparing for that audition for The Godfather Part 3, and she was expecting a script to be delivered. So she was excited, and when the doorbell rang, she answered it excitedly. Unfortunately, at the time, her intercom wasn't working. Instead of being met with a courier who was delivering her script, Rebecca was confused to find Robert standing there with a letter and autograph that she had previously sent him like a while ago. So after a short conversation, she basically said nicely if he could not come to her house again, because, you know, it's her private residence. So Robert left and he went to a diner and had some breakfast. Then he returned to Rebecca's apartment an hour later. Once again, she answered the door, and she had a bit of a cold look on her face because she told him not to come back, but yeah, he did anyway. So he was pretty annoyed by her being annoyed at him. He pushed open the door because she tried to shut it. He pulled out the handgun and he opened fire, shooting her in her chest at point blank range in the doorway of her apartment building. According to Robert, she fell to the ground, and as she fell, she said, "Why?" Following the shooting, Robert ran away from the house and he disappeared into a nearby alley. Rebecca was rushed to the hospital. The neighbors had heard the screams and they heard the gunshot. They found her unconscious in her hallway. Sadly, Rebecca Schaeffer was pronounced dead 30 minutes after she arrived in the hospital. The police, they arrested Robert the next day after motorists reported a man wandering aimlessly in traffic on Interstate 10. So after being picked up by the officers, he immediately confessed to killing Rebecca. Robert's attorneys conceded that he had killed Rebecca, but they argued that he was mentally ill. Yeah. So despite this, at his trial in October of 1991, Robert Bardo was found guilty of first-degree murder, and he was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. So he will spend his miserable life behind bars where he deserves to be. Good. So Robert Bardo carried a red paperback copy of The Catcher in the Rye when he killed Rebecca, which he tossed onto the roof of a building as he ran away. He insisted that it was coincidental and that he was not emulating Mark David Chapman, who had also carried a copy of the novel with him when he shot and killed John Lennon on December the 8th, 1980. But it doesn't sound like it's a coincidence, right? Like, come on. Mark Chapman later claimed in interviews that he had received letters from Robert before he killed Rebecca, in which Robert inquired about life in prison. So Robert's a weirdo. After it came to light that a private investigator had actually obtained Rebecca's address from the DMV, the Driver's Privacy Protection Act, which prevents the DMV from releasing private address, was enacted in 1994. Yeah, good. So in 2007, Robert, he was stabbed in prison. He was stabbed 11 times on his way to breakfast in the maximum security unit. So they made two shivs, yeah, and they stabbed him with them. So he was treated in hospital and he was returned to prison. As of 2024, he is serving his life sentence at the Avenel State Prison in Avenel, California. Rebecca Schaeffer, she was buried in a cemetery in Portland, Oregon. 4 women who had actually had restraining orders against men who were harassing them at the time were also killed in Orange County, California, the same year as Rebecca was. These deaths all led to California passing the first anti-stalking laws in the United States, which soon became a crime in the rest of the country. Rebecca Schaeffer, she was a young, beautiful woman trying to figure herself out. She set out to be an actress, and she did that. She did so much in such a short time. She was so young. Unfortunately, her life was cut far, far too short. We can only wonder what her life and career could have been. Bloody Robert. Jesus. So yeah, that is me for today. Rebecca Schaeffer. Sad, sad stuff. Poor, poor girl, woman. Yeah. Anyway, I hope you guys are having a wonderful day, morning, night, whatever it is where you are. And I will be talking to you later. See you later, guys.